Good evening, Voice of Canada. We are here at Avas TV Entertainment, which exclusively produces our weekly show. We have a very dynamic young guest, young man who is full of energy, belonging to a corporate world. Plus, he has also attained the rank of a captain in our Canadian Army. So we welcome you, Michael Kambare.
That's right. Thank you so much for the invite.
Would you like to introduce yourself briefly, what all you do about yourself to our audience of Voice of Canada?
For sure. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to, Asfi. So to introduce you to to your viewers, my name is Michael Kambare, like Asfi had mentioned. I do have, as Asfi alluded to, some stake in the business world. I do have a tech startup as well on the side, I think. In what little spare time I have, I'm also in the Army Reserves.
Lovely.
So lots to do, right?
Definitely. You're a young man, you've got to go a long way.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Right. Number 2.
Welcome to our show again, Mr. Michael. How are you today?
Again, thank you so much for the invite. Really
Excited to have you here. You're the young, talented man we have ever had on this show, like the youngest ever.
You're the youngest guest in our show.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have got majority of the time mature politicians
Yes.
and other people.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, I'm hoping to make this a special interview.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like you said, you've been a captain of the Army, and now you have started your own business, which is tech. It's like totally different two industries. How do you manage to shift from one phase to another? Was it hard?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I mean, I do them at the same time. So I guess I make that shift every single day when I'm bouncing between both of those duties, both of those roles.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of overlap between those two career
Definitely.
paths.
It's entirely a vast contrast.
In the business world, or whether you're in the military or not, there's a lot of importance to managerial,
Yes.
organizational
Definitely.
skills, and I get to develop that both in both
Wow.
streams.
Hmm.
I'm in a technical sort of job as well in the military, so there's obviously a lot of overlap being in a technical business as well. So it's hard. It's probably the hardest thing about it is managing time. Like I
Yeah.
said, I don't have any spare time.
Yeah.
I don't
Can
really get to do
imagine.
anything else.
Yeah.
But so long as you do something that you enjoy,
Yes.
I guess there's nothing wrong with it, right?
So I guess you enjoy both. Do you?
Yeah, most of the time. At least that's what I tell myself in the morning. That's what I try to sell myself on. But
That's
no, I do
nice.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's obviously very demanding. It takes up a lot of time, but again, I find it rewarding, both of them. I find both of those careers very rewarding. I'm starting my own business,
Wow.
and as well, I'm supporting the country, serving the country, serving my
Definitely.
community.
That we are truly proud of you.
Mhm.
That you were born in Canada.
That's correct. Yeah.
See, you are a born Canadian of a Filipino origin.
Mhm.
So it's a great honor because your community has become very visible now.
Mhm.
We have got about 2.8 million Filipinos in Canada.
Mhm.
And they have become very aggressive in all walks of life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure Filipino would be aggressive per se, but
No,
we're
means
working hard.
they are working hard. And what I meant was they are participating in the economy of Canada
Oh, for sure.
very
for sure.
aggressively,
Mhm.
shoulder to shoulder with other communities and Canadians.
Mhm.
That's what I meant.
They're
Oh,
the
for sure.
achievers.
Yeah.
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 Go ahead.
So you said you were the CEO of the Real Estate Inc.
Mhm.
So what does your company do? What exactly your business is about? Would you
Great
like to-
question. So I actually have, to make that question even more confusing, I actually have two businesses.
Oh.
So the first one I started was called Block Estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real estate tech company. It's something called property technology.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of it is making buying and selling real estate a more enjoyable experience, kind of gamifying it
Oh.
to be more in line with what millennials and Gen Z
Mm-hmm.
wants, Like,
Yeah.
But anyway, when we were working on that, we also found the need to have our own payment system.
Yeah.
Obviously, real estate,
Definitely.
payments in general, both very heavily regulated industries, very hard to break into, and very hard to work with as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there was a big need for us to have our own capability in terms of payments. So while we were working on Block Estate, we spun off this whole other company, and we call it Block Pay.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty similar name, right?
Definitely.
Wasn't even
something,
taken. Isn't that amazing?
Something unique. It's a unique name.
That's right.
Like a subsidiary company.
That's exactly it. And BlockPay is in financial technologies.
Okay.
So what we do is we process payments on behalf of merchant clients.
Yeah.
And And yeah, I definitely didn't think I'd ever get into that space when I was in university.
Yes.
I studied computer science. I wasn't into real estate or financial markets in any way, but now here I am
Yeah.
doing that.
That's good. Good for you.
Michael, we are truly proud of you that during our long pandemic of COVID-19,
Mhm.
there was a call from our nation for you to go and spend your time being an army captain.
Mhm.
So what role did you play during pandemic helping the civilian government?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. And yeah, before I get into that, I really do appreciate being in the reserves. It's really given me a lot of opportunities to serve my community,
Hmm.
right? In 2019, I had the chance to deploy up north to Bracebridge to help with the flooding. It's a seasonal flooding that happens
Lovely.
there
Awesome. That's a great
almost
experience.
every year now.
Mhm.
In 2020, I deployed an op laser as part of the government's response to the first wave of COVID here in Ontario.
Yeah.
That was when we were involved with the care homes and everything like
Mhm.
that. And then in 2021, I was also an op vector, and that was with the assistance to the rollout of the vaccine here in Ontario. So
Mhm.
being in the reserves, it's a great way to not only
Definitely.
pursue my own civilian career,
It's a proud,
but
it's a
to-
proud privilege, I would
Yeah,
say,
to
rather.
give back to the community.
Giving back to the community as a Canadian.
That's right.
And that's why I was highly impressed when your mom said you have joined the military academy
Mhm.
and you are going to be in the army, taking a training. And it's a hard life. Everybody does it. Doesn't suit everyone to go into the army and serve the nation.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's hard. So, Michael, while we're talking about what you're doing currently, let's talk about your background, like your education. Where did you come from? What college did you go to? Just to get the background
And
knowledge.
some good memories of your childhood.
Wow, that's
Yeah, that our
digging deep.
viewers would be really interested to know.
Well, your viewers will be here for hours if I had to get into that second question. But for the first one, about my educational background, I
Yes.
suppose. So I went to university at the Royal Military College
Oh, wow.
here in Canada, in Kingston.
Mhm.
It's Canada's military university. So
Yeah.
I studied there for 4 years for my undergrad. I did computer science and math.
Mhm.
And a lot of that technical background is how I managed to found Block Estate Block Pay, which
Yeah.
is a very technical company.
Yes.
My job in the military as well is very technical, so it was all.
So you are
Important.
basically a technical person.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah,
You kind of have to
I
try to
see.
do everything, as any business owner would know. But yeah, mainly. I like
Mainly,
to
yeah.
Focus
You
on the
use a
tech.
tool for high tech.
That's right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Great.
Michael, inform our viewers, what role did you play as a troop commander during your duty in the Canadian Army? And how many trained Army personnel you have in your 32 regiment,
Mhm.
approximately?
Yeah.
A regiment consists of how many? Viewers of Voice of Canada, we would be taking a short break and we would return shortly. Welcome back to our Voice of Canada's weekly talk show, hosted by Asfandyar Wadiwala, co-hosted by Simona Kutoni, exclusively produced by Avas TV Entertainment Mississauga. We have a wonderful guest, a very intelligent young man, Michael Kambare. We welcome you back after the short break. We would like you to inform our viewers that during 5 months of pandemic, you were at a base Borden from April to August. What duties you performed over there, helping the civilian government and the people of Ontario? You were serving the people.
Mhm. That's right. Great question, Asfi. Thank you. So during that time, we were on Operation Laser, which was the government's response to the first wave of COVID here in Ontario, where we deployed to support 6 long-term care homes that were in urgent need of assistance
Yes.
right in that first wave. So in terms of what we were doing, the brigade group that was deployed as part of that operation was providing medical assistance to the care homes, logistical support, driving things around, things like that. Even something as simple as taking the residents of the care homes out, making sure that they're
Rescuing
that they're
them.
okay. Yeah, making sure that they're okay, that their quality of life is good, and that they're surviving a very tough and difficult time that was for all Ontarians.
Definitely, for everybody, it was a difficult time for the whole world.
Yes, of
We
course.
never thought that this will be a world crisis.
Yeah.
It still kind of is.
Yeah, still going on.
And still it's going on, but still now the people are getting used to COVID-19 and we treat it as a severe flu
Mhm.
symptoms, but still we have to go a long way.
For sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we were talking about your IT experience back starting from your education, and now that you're putting your skills into your company. Would you like to elaborate on what exactly IT expertise or you're bringing in the company for your company?
Yeah, great question. So we're a tech company.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yes.
I think it would be very embarrassing as a tech company if we weren't really pushing the boundaries for what was advanced right now, right? So
Yes.
you'll hear all the buzzwords, but we really do embody the machine learning, blockchain, AI, things like that play a huge part in our services, in our platform. So
Yeah.
for example, one of the big pain points that we see in real estate especially is that people don't really know what they want. You know, they may want it, but it's hard. They know what they want, but it's hard for them to actually explain to someone what they want. So we use machine learning to
Yeah.
actually infer
Mm-hmm.
what it is you as an individual want in a home, want in a
Right.
condo, want in a property.
Right.
So without you even being able to put it to words, oh wow, that is something I want to buy and live in.
Yeah.
You know, things like that, right? And that's really all things we can do now because the technology is there.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like something for the consumers and the people, the builders as well. Is it like something you work with both of them, or?
No, so a block estate is really servicing like the retail, or sorry, like
But have you formed some sort of software?
that's right, yeah.
See,
So
that's
it's
the way.
our
Technology,
main
yeah.
product is an app, and it's really
Mhm.
for regular buyers, renters, sellers to use it to make it easier for them to access the market, whether it's to find buyers for their listing or if it's for people to find their next home, things
Mhm.
like that. It's just
Okay.
making it fun and easy for them to do that.
So how big is your team in this company?
We're a pretty big team across way too many time zones, so it makes it way too difficult for us to
Mhm.
actually work.
You're
but,
spread all over the country?
That's right.
Other provinces also?
all over the country.
Oh,
We even
wow.
have team
Wow.
members.
Wow, that's a great achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah, we even
Yeah.
have team members in Singapore and in the Philippines. So,
Oh, wow,
Wow.
internationally also.
Yeah, it makes it awful to talk to each other at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Time difference zones are there.
Someone's always tired.
12 hours,
Yes.
you know, to a difference of 12 hours, Singapore and
That's right.
Yeah,
I think
Canada.
Singapore's 11, and I think
11 and 12.
Philippines is 12.
It's 11 and 12 hours.
Yeah,
So that is a big difference of
Yeah.
timings because whenever we also deal with those countries, it's really stressful.
every meeting, someone's always way too tired to be there.
It's
But-
really stressful
Yes.
because I've done interviews on Skype to those countries and
Mhm.
it's really, really stressful for them because our time is evening and for them it's early
That's right.
morning.
Yeah.
I have a great team, and yeah, we're all across the country, even Quebec and
Wow.
Ottawa, Winnipeg, things like that.
So do you travel often to your other locations?
Not lately.
Not lately.
No.
Means communication on
At one point, I was
on Zoom
yeah.
and
I was actually in
phone
the
and-
Philippines the week before they locked down the border.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was lucky, unlucky. I don't know. In another life, I was stuck there. Maybe that's good.
So you were stuck there?
No, I was almost stuck there the week
Almost.
before they locked down the border.
Uh-huh.
So I was saying in another reality, I got stuck there, and I had to be there for like 2 years, which
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't be here on your show, Astrid. So.
Oh my God, that would have been really sad, you know, because since a long time you were in my mind to invite you,
Mhm.
and our viewers are from various communities, various nationalities.
Mhm.
We have got over 20,000 viewers of our show. Plus, it is shown to the worldwide on 5 IPTV boxes too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At the same time, we are also releasing our show on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media sites.
That's great.
So it's widely circulated.
Mhm.
You won't believe, I don't have to even ask my niece. She watches my show in New Zealand.
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
She has
Yeah.
found a source where to watch this show of mine, and she says, "No, Uncle, I watch it. I like it."
Well, you can say hi to
She's
her
a good
now. She's
niece.
probably watching now.
So, no, this is a recording.
No.
This is a recording. Achha, Michael, if on a lighter note, again, go to a little lighter note. Can tell our viewers what are your hobbies? What would you like to do in your free time as a young man?
Yeah, that's a very tough question, to be honest.
Still, likings are individual has got the likings, the hobbies,
Mhm.
how you spend your spare time, your holidays.
Yeah, well, I've really built my personality around work, so it's hard to say what else there is to
Traveling.
do. Yeah,
Playing golf. See, I'm giving you lots of hints.
you're giving me great ideas here.
Huh? Going for a swim, going for
Yeah.
long walks,
Could be anything.
sitting nicely, and we are at Lake Ontario.
Yeah, I usually sit at the lake and just think about more work. How I could be more productive.
And you can plan out better.
It's true.
Yeah.
No, honestly, in my spare time, what little spare time there is, I like to work my own technical projects sometimes as well. So, not for work related per se, but I tinker around with electronics. I restore old cassette players, things like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, that's a new information we are getting.
Yeah, I find it very fun buying old vintage electronics,
Wow.
making them work again. I tinker around with other electronics. For example, I built this system, I guess you can call it. It's a head-mounted system. It's basically an augmented reality system, and it allows you to basically see a target in your space, and you could
Definitely.
you could fight it, you could shoot it, things like that. It's a simulator, a game, whatever you want to call it. But
True.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Which brings me, did you ever think of making your own game or something?
Maybe at
It's a
one
similar
point,
field.
a long
Yeah.
time ago, I'm sure, but I haven't really thought about it lately.
Yeah.
Good.
So while we were talking about the real estate, how your app is more into the real estate market, what do you think of real estate market in Canada these days with the affordability crisis?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely something very contemporary right now too. It's something that's
Yeah.
it's hard to say what the long-term effects will be because we're still living in it, right?
Yes.
We're still kind of playing along with it, and we're not going to feel the long-term consequences for a long time, right? But I definitely acknowledge that there is an affordability crisis. A lot of people in my age bracket, a lot of my friends, they're priced out of the market, right? They can't buy a home or anything like that. They're still living with their parents, or they're forced to rent or split with a bunch of other
Cohorts.
roommates because they can't afford it, right? And it's a genuine crisis.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you some question on real estate, especially the price factor. We have asked lots of politicians also, because it's really, really very hard for a first-time buyer to buy a house or a property of his own,
Right.
because it's the start of the career, and they don't have that much cash in hand, and to make at least 20 to 25% initial deposit is not easy, keeping in view the current prices.
Yeah.
Right.
So what would you say to that? Okay, how to solve that issue?
How to solve that issue? Well, that's a huge question. I think it really strikes down to the affordability aspect as well, right? But in that same vein, it's also thinking about our idea here in the West about home ownership, right? In countries like Japan, for example, they kind of forego the entire idea that housing, your home property, is an investment. To them, first and foremost, it's a place to live. But here, me having my real estate license and having experience showing people where they want to buy, number one consideration for a lot of people is, what will the equity be like in a few years? How much can I sell it for in a few years?
Yeah.
So a lot of people here, in the West especially, would rather compromise and live somewhere they may not really want to live because they think that it's an investment. And, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But at the same time, it's kind of, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Do we want as a society to benefit from property being an investment that will keep growing forever? Or do we want it to be affordable so that anyone can access the market and they can live in it? It's hard to say, right?
Yeah. So do you think the government's measures are really effective for the
Currently, because it's going in minus now. Since last 2 months, the sales of property is low. But there are two things. One is the high rate of inflation and price. So two things are really, plus at the same time, there is hardly any supply also in the market. There is a shortage of supply.
Definitely a multifaceted issue, right? A lot of people would say it's speculation from foreign investors that's driving it up, or it's a limited supply, and there's no one right or wrong answer. There's so many causes that are aggravating this issue, right? In terms of how effective the government has been, again, hard to say, right? It's just so recent. We're still living in the consequences of it.
True.
What the long-term effects will be, the macroeconomic reverberations, is hard to say. I think right now, to any layman's perspective, it's doing something that's hard to avoid.
Yeah,
right?
it
It's
started
something.
moving.
The-
The
the-
wheel has started
the
moving.
bidding
you know?
wars are not
Yeah.
nearly as intense.
Mhm.
There's a lot less demand right now. I think maybe a lot of people are just waiting to,
Yes.
but it's hard to avoid the fact that yes, it is having a pronounced effect. There is a cooling of the market, whether or not
Schooling. The
that will
government
be-
wants to cool it down.
for sure, and whether or not that leads to a huge correction, hard to say. Maybe it will plateau
They
here.
are
maybe it'll
trying
go
their
down
level
more.
best to cool it down so the prices can be controlled
Mhm.
and at least becomes little affordable for the people who are genuinely wants to buy a property to stay,
For sure.
not
Yeah.
only as investment. Because Canada has got a property market is very lucrative.
Yeah.
As compared to what you said in Japan.
Mhm.
Japan doesn't have about 182, 192 nationalities.
Mhm.
They are very, very one community. They have foreigners, they have diplomats, they have visitors.
Mhm.
But Canada is entirely different.
Exactly.
Canada is the largest multicultural country in the world.
No, totally different. For
It's
sure.
totally different. So that's why the aspects of property, demand, everything is different. Plus, the culture of Canada and culture of Japan has got vast difference.
Of course. Hmm.
You're aware of that.
Yeah. If anything, there's a few things that each country can borrow from the other.
Definitely. But they have done very well after the World War II.
Mm-hmm.
They have come out very well, very strongly. They work very, very hard. I would say rather double the hours they put in than even Canadians. Average Japanese guy works for 60 hours.
Yeah.
55 to 60 hours in Japan, but still they can't afford. Plus, they stay in such small houses, the pigeonholes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Some people like that, Asfi.
Yeah, they
That's
like
true.
it.
Even we have those kind of small
A little
accommodations
cozy, right?
in downtown also.
Yeah.
But still, everybody needs space.
Yeah.
You won't believe when I migrated to Canada, I got a luxurious condo.
Mhm.
But we couldn't survive more than 2 years because we were used to big spaces
Mhm.
and all that stuff. In 2 years' time, I had to dispose of that condo and buy a house.
Yeah.
The reason is it depends upon individuals' adaptability also. Then during summertime, it's our culture that we receive lots of guests from abroad. They come and spend time with you, they stay with you. So there are different
Oh, for sure.
with
Yeah.
every individual requirements.
Mhm.
It's
And
just
that's-
how and where you grew
Yeah.
that matters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I wanted to touch base with the experience when you opened up your company. What difficulties did you have to face, and was government supportive at all with you, or no? Did you get any
No.
incentives from them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'd love to talk about that,
Mhm.
especially since I'm sure there's a lot of other people,
Yeah.
varying age groups or backgrounds that are interested in starting their own company.
Definitely.
Yes.
So, fortunately, Ontario, because it does differ province by province,
Yeah.
Ontario is very supportive. I would say very supportive of new companies, especially new tech companies. We have a great ecosystem here in Toronto in terms of resources, not only for funding, but also for mentorship, for knowledge, things like that. My
Wow.
company, Block Estate, had the opportunity to go through something called DMZ. It's an accelerator here in Canada.
Mhm.
It's one of the top ranked tech accelerators
Mhm.
in the world. And that's something we have right here in Toronto.
Yeah.
So Toronto is actually very fortunate. We have Mars, we have DMZ, tons of resources like that. All the big universities have one. Tons of resources like that that help new entrepreneurs break into the market, because you can't really do it alone.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you had unlimited money, you can't do it alone, right? You still need somebody else to help. there.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
even in terms of the money angle, there is a lot of support
Yeah.
for new businesses here as
Mm.
well, right?
At the same time, you must have heard since last 4 years, we say Ontario is open for business.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's our main slogan to the world, not only to Canadians, and that has proved very effective.
Mhm.
And you saw recently that our current government won a landslide victory.
Mhm. That's
This
right.
was the reason, because they worked very, very hard during pandemic
Yeah.
and they proved worthy.
That's
So
right.
the people voted them. They had more seats and more power. They are rather absolute power
Mhm.
currently. So that's a very good sign. Ontario will progress. It's the largest province in Canada.
Mhm.
And we need that Ontario
Technology.
should be number one all over Canada.
For
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
We have a huge skill set here, and making sure that we're able to keep business here means one, growing the economy, and two, stopping that brain drain, right? of people moving to the US or other markets where they think it's more lucrative?
Now we are increasing very nicely, very comfortably. Only recently, the government of Canada has announced that we are 37.5 million people. But only recently, they said that we are 38 millions. We have touched. That means that we are growing very comfortably. And with the cream a la cream.
Yeah,
Canadians are more educated as compared to other countries' immigrants.
for sure.
You
I think
must-
we're getting there. We definitely pale in comparison in terms of the other like kind of startup hubs like San Francisco, New York, things like that. You still hear in my circles, professional circles, you hear people that they would rather list on an American exchange, or they would rather go into an American incubator, or they would rather go with an American investor because they know it's more lucrative. there.
Definitely.
Canada
Right.
is nowhere near as lucrative. But
No,
Right.
definitely,
We're-
because we have got a very small population as compared to
but
USA.
it won't be built overnight, but
Yeah.
It
I'm
will
happy
take
to see-
time, but still, whatever we are doing,
Mhm.
we are on the right path.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Private and public level, there's a lot of investment being made, and so long as we prevent that brain drain of committed people that are staying here to keep growing
True,
that
true.
ecosystem, I think Toronto will one day be a global tech hub.
And it's
Yeah.
good that our educated people are staying in Canada.
Mhm.
I have a daughter who is also a PhD.
Yeah,
She was offered 3 to 4 times
Mhm.
to go and work in United States.
Mhm.
But I said, no, you have studied here, you can get less pay, but we are going to serve Canada.
yeah,
That should be the spirit.
for sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how do you balance your time between duties at the military and your own startup?
He's a
business?
reservist.
Yeah, it's tough, honestly. I'm very lucky
It must
that
be so hard.
the reserves is very flexible. I think it's a great part-time employer. I really emphasize that a lot. They're very accommodating, very flexible for people that like me that have a civilian career. You can
And
do
how
a
much
full-time
time they give whenever the nation needs you? So
Yeah.
how much notice is given? You have to report on duty.
Yeah, it could be anything, right? Again, it's an
Emergency.
emergency or something like that. It's hard to
Mm.
really predict that months in advance, right?
Wow.
So it is what it is, but it's a little bit difficult to balance sometimes just because.
No, it's an honor. Michael, we
Yeah.
feel it's
It is
an
so
honor
hard.
at this age.
Mhm.
You are a rank of a captain.
Mhm.
And whenever our nation needs you,
Yeah.
we know you will be first to go and report.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a little bit easier lately. The military, like a lot of other companies, organizations in Canada, was very against working remote
Mhm.
at one point, and it's crazy to me to see the paradigm shift that happened at COVID. All of a sudden now, it's so socially accepted in the military for you work remote a day or two here and there.
True.
So because of that, it's been a lot more easy for me to balance both of them,
That's good.
seeing as I don't have to be there in person all the time. And again, it's just another way that the reserves is very accommodating, I say, to people.
Good.
What problems besides affordability are currently facing the real estate market here in Canada? What are the other problems? What are the other issues? Because you are deeply into estate business.
Mhm.
So try to emphasize more what your research says, what your company says, that what is the future of estate in Canada.
For sure. I think a lot of people focus on affordability and all the other issues are derivative. But I think a lot of the other problems that I'm going to talk about now are standalone, right? So even before this whole affordability thing really started reaching the political mainstream and everything like that over the last few election cycles in Canada, there was always a transparency issue, I would say, in real estate in Canada. So
Yeah.
you know how in other markets, in other countries, bidding is not
Yeah.
a little private affair, right? Like everybody knows that person bid this much money and I'm going to bid this much money.
Yeah, that's a document open too.
But here
Yes.
in Canada, or rather specifically in Ontario, you can't share that. It's
You
all
can
private.
share. Yeah, true.
So there's always been a huge transparency issue, I would say, and the government's been working on that. So the Real Estate Business Brokers Act here in Canada is being renamed now to the Trust in Real Estate Act.
Oh, wow.
as
That's
TREZA.
great news for our
Yeah.
viewers.
Yeah.
A lot of it is a lot of new parts of that are supposed to really increase the consumer and public confidence in the
Yeah.
real estate market. So little things like that are going a long way to solving that transparency issue, right?
Wow.
There's also the whole problem with multiple representation. So if your viewers are not aware, like here in Ontario, as the one agent can represent a buyer and a seller.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So obviously that opens the door to conflicts of interest that may not necessarily be all that bad, all that good for any one party, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, mhm.
So, Michael, what do you think of foreign investment pouring into our investment market? There are lots of foreign buyers,
Mhm.
and Vancouver has already put a hold on it.
Yeah.
Get if any non-Canadian buys the property,
Mhm.
don't you think we should ban for foreigners to buy property in Canada?
Well, I think foreign investment was really the boogeyman, right? A scapegoat. It's very easy for us to
Because
blame them. 'cause,
Vancouver is
yeah,
practically
they're not us.
purchased by the people from China and Hong Kong and other places and even Middle Eastern countries.
Well, that's
And
true.
this trend started over here in Ontario too,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which raised the prices of our houses and the properties.
Yeah. Well, we have to remember that foreign investors in general, represent a very small subset of the overall, or just a part of the overall market of buyers, right? They're
Right.
mixed in with legitimate people looking to buy and live in that property. And then of investors, foreign investors are even a smaller subset of that, right?
Right.
So yeah, they play a part in driving up prices and affecting competition, but I think they're just a small part of it. And I think they really are a boogeyman. Like they're not a main driver
Mhm.
for why a lot of housing in Canadian cities is unaffordable. They're just a part of it. So maybe more so a symptom of the affordability crisis than the cause, than the driver. You know?
Right.
Michael, due to paucity of time, I am afraid that today we will have to shorten our interview. But I assure you that in near future, in few months' time, by the time you will gain more experience in especially in your business, real estate, and other things, we will come and have a second talk of Michael Kambare Part 2.
Yes,
That
for
I
sure.
assure you in my show. So by that, we will be ending our show. Would you like to give final comments to our viewers of Voice of Canada?
No, other than thank you so much, Simone Asfi.
Still,
for,
any advice would you like to give to our viewers, Canadians,
yeah.
young generation?
Advice. Well, I'm still living through a lot of these things. My advice to your viewers.
With your experience,
Yeah.
what you would
my
advise
advice,
them.
my advice to your viewers, keep up with me, look at what I'm doing, and learn from my mistakes. And you can go from there, okay?
Definitely. Because
Sure.
every person learns from his or her mistakes.
For sure. But your viewers can learn from mine, so they don't have to do it themselves.
Thank you. That's a very, very broad-based answer. We loved it.
Mhm.
And Michael, thank you for coming.
Mhm.
On behalf of Voice of Canada, my co-host Mina Khatun,
Mhm.
myself, Asfandyar Wadiwala, Avas TV Enterprises, Mrs. Saga, we are thankful to you. Hope to see you soon again.
Mhm.
Have a wonderful evening and have a good night.
Thank you so
It was
much.
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you.
Thank you.
Bye.